Hello and welcome. I am Ashley Pfeiffer, aka Metaphysical Ash, and today we have a special event that we are hosting on Align Your Divine, where Priscilla, Christian, and I are going to be discussing some of the challenges that we've had while aligning our business with mission and purpose. I know this has been quite a journey for me. I've had many ups and downs. I've gone through different businesses while maintaining that focus on the spiritual path and knowing that my mission and purpose is to awaken and to heal. So I'm a healer, I'm an activator. That's what I'm doing. And it can translate in a lot of different ways. And I want to introduce Priscilla Christian. Hello. Thank you for being
Hello.
one of
Thanks
my
for
favorite
having
people.
me. Yes. So actually, I think through this topic, we really built a friendship. So I was excited to talk about it with you because I think we both know, the challenges that we've gone through together and like the mission, the bigger vision. So yeah, my name is Priscilla Christian of Soul Led Society. And I basically built Soul Led because of my journey through business and starting businesses and stopping them and learning how to really become more aligned in order to infuse that with, in my business. So thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. So I went ahead and just started our live stream on the Align Your Divine Women's Group, which is a group of women who come together to share tools, resources, modalities, everything that is going to help you activate unshakable confidence and align with your highest expression of self. So find us on Facebook at Align Your Divine, and Priscilla is a part of our group, and we're so happy to have you here. And that's an extension of Metaphysical Ash, which is my company, and it's gone through a lot of different ups and downs. And I feel like it's taken me a few years to really get the mission and purpose aligned, because it's taken me those same years to get myself truly aligned. And I mean, I'm still continuing to uncover who I am, but I feel like it took a little while to release a good percentage of what I was not.
Mm-hmm. In which we live for so long, those patterns and stuff they can be so deeply embedded in us. And it does take time and experience to align yourself with, purpose and mission. So yeah, Ash, it's been quite the journey, but it's interesting, right? Because I feel like everything that we've been through literally leads us up for this moment and for the future. So yeah.
I totally agree with you. Real quick, Priscilla, can you tell us a little bit about your background, about what you do? While you're doing that, I'm going to be sending Heather that invite because I did not send her that.
Yeah, send it to her. Take your time. She would appreciate that.
I know.
Okay, hold on. Let me get comfortable because I feel like
get comfy. Tell us about your life.
Everyone get comfortable, okay? Because I get so nervous, but it's like, and you know what? That is a part of the journey, right? Like that's something that I go through, where I get nervous, and I love to talk about the way I'm feeling because it makes us just more relatable. So
it gets it out too, right?
Yeah, it gets it out. I'm like, okay, let me just lay it on the damn table. But okay, so let's see, where do we start? I'll make it as quick as possible, but basically right out of high school, I was in the military for a couple years, and I quickly knew that wasn't my path, if that makes sense. I love to do good at whatever I do, but of course, I think we can all agree that we have something inside of us that calls us or pulls us in a certain direction. So when I was in the military, I had that call. I happened to get discharged honorably. So I was discharged from the military, worked a corporate job, but still, again, I wasn't in love with what I was doing. I did the 40 hours a week thing, ended up having 2 children, which led me to start entrepreneurship because my schedule and the kids, it was just hectic. So I loved business, and I've started to go to college for it. In the back end, my husband and I have been running a landscape business for the past 9 years. So while I'm like trying to find out my purpose and find what that looks like for me, I'm also already running a business. So as we talk about these things, I do want to say I am a little bit more like structured, like we have to have a plan.
Yeah.
And obviously we don't always, but I'm just saying like I do things a little bit more strategic. So I was running a company as I'm kind of finding my way, and I'm still doing that to this day. So with that being said, I started 2 companies. One was a hair extension company because I love everything glam and eyelashes. And but I quickly fell out of love with that company because I just found that many women didn't love who they were. And I'm super empathetic, or I'm an empath. So I could feel that they didn't love themselves. And I was like, ooh, I don't know if this business is attracting in my messaging, the clients that I needed, or it just made me have to dig deeper within myself. Like, why am I really doing this? So then I ended that and I was like, okay, I know I like to put the lashes on, but I don't like to sell them. So I ended that, started doing business consulting and worked and website design. So we built out your brand foundation and started doing web design, where we just we defined what your brand mission is and your voice. But as I was doing that, I also realized that a lot of business owners are still disconnected with their business because of their intention behind the business. A lot of times it was coming from a place of scarcity and fear, a lot of fear. So I quickly learned that we have to become more aligned in who we are in our personal lives, which will then translate into business. So I took a break. I was like, okay, I have to just give it a break because now that all this stuff is making me go inward. And that's when I started to build out Soul-Led Society. So essentially Soul-Led is exactly what it sounds like. I would like everyone that, you know, can benefit from my teaching and our message to become more soul-led. So whether that looks like working a 9-to-5 or building that company, or maybe doing both or having fun with it, whatever that looks like for you, learning how to really shift through those motions and without judging yourself in that process. So yeah, that's why I built Soul-Led Society. I now feel like it is a huge umbrella and we could talk about business and lifestyle and the lashes all in one. So I totally feel you with Metaphysical Ash because essentially I'm that, but like a lifestyle brand, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of my story and I'm sticking to it.
I feel like there's one really important part
Oh, go ahead. And I know I rushed through that. So
that you left out that
oh,
I feel is so important to the brand, just Priscilla.
oh, stop. What about her?
She's a mother of 3
Yeah.
who helps her husband run that company. And, you know, while you're building Soul-Led Society, how do you maintain that balance? Like being a mother, because I don't have any children. I got friends that have children, and
Yeah.
you know, sometimes I call you and it's just like, what's going on over there?
It's crazy. And I'm just waiting. They know
Yeah.
not to come in here, but it's like at any moment, you just never know what can happen.
Mhm.
And it's funny because we had a conversation the other day where you mentioned downplaying the topic, whatever it was. And I feel like I do that when it comes to my load, because I've learned how to balance. There is no perfect balance. There's no such thing as balance. So I feel like I choose my battles. I really pick my battles. Like not everything that our children are going through is the end of the world. Not everything that I'm going through is the end of the world. And really learning how to prioritize tasks, like literally, like, and my thoughts. So like being mindful of my thoughts and what I'm going to choose to stress out or focus on. But yeah, I do have 3 children and we are entrepreneurs, my husband and I, with a commercial landscape company, right? So we do deal with big jobs and high stress. And I think the answer to that is really like legit picking your battles and like knowing that whatever happens right now, once it's an hour from now, like it's already happened. So becoming more solution oriented and picking your battles and having fun with it. You know, like
Yeah.
seriously, not everything is the end of the world. And I know that everyone has a different like stress scale. But if you have big goals, and I know you do because you're in this group and you're digging deep, right? So I know that you have a bigger picture for all of us, for humanity. So if you want a bigger, if we see a bigger goal or vision for everyone, why not have that for ourselves? And in order for it to happen for humanity, we have to have that solid, clear, not perfect, but happy, like, vision, and just, yeah. Yeah, that's my answer to that, though.
Oh, I love that. And
A lot, though. It is a lot.
there was something you said that really stood out, and it was like, you have to have that clear vision, like the clarity in thought and the clarity in your feeling, because we will contradict ourselves, and that will create contradictions in the structure. I'm the queen of contradictions. I'm contradicting myself all the time. I'm saying, I got it, and less and less, it seems like the more I go forward, I get solid, I get clear.
Yeah.
But there's always that past stuff that comes up. What you were told as a child, what the media is telling you, what society deems as success. You're always receiving from the external. So it's so important to know yourself. Where is that coming from? Oh, childhood trauma. Okay, that actually is not true. You choose your thoughts, because it will directly impact on the moves we make in our business. And how many times have we not taken that leap out of fear based on something we believed to be true, and then later regretted it? Because was that true? Or was that just a mechanism placed within us to keep us safe, quote unquote, safe from unknown perceived danger, like what we perceive to be dangerous, but it's really just the unknown.
And that is, that leads me to say, learning myself has been, you know what? Let's take that whole answer back, Ash. And legit, like, learning myself has been what's kept me balanced. Because in order to, be able to pick my battles and do all those things I said, I have to start to learn those things, right? Like, what is my thought pattern or patterns? And then I've become obsessed with information. But just because I've become obsessed with information, am I retaining and implementing this information? So giving myself time to learn the things about me, myself, without dwelling in them, learning the functions of the body as well has been huge, because a lot of people don't realize exactly what you said, and that the brain is, well, I don't know if you said it this way, but the brain is designed to keep us safe. So when you start to learn about different functions and the way our body actually works, we're able to say, okay, hold up, I could shift this thought, and I can say, okay, maybe that was me, and then start to reprogram ourselves. So yeah, the mind. And actually, I wrote that down as my first thing. Brain, learn the mind, brain, and then having awareness based on that. When I first started to become more intentional with life, I feel like I always have been, but once I was like, oh, life really works like this, and this, meaning learning energy and frequency, I was very, very mindful of words. Like, it's something so simple, but I would literally look up, well, what does frequency mean? What does energy mean? How does that look? How to, and then a lot of people give you the example of like the radio station. And I would put these words together, so that way now when I'm thinking them, I actually understand what I'm telling myself. So being really mindful of yourself, just had to say that.
Yeah, I love that.
Do clarity.
And I think one of the greatest challenges for me has been falling in love with the unknown. And when we're talking about the brain and its intention to keep us safe, keeping us safe means falling back into old patterns and, ways of life. And think about that. The brain, how it's developed, what you've experienced, through your early developmental years. Imagine that. Like, everyone is structured in a different way. So if you want to be what you've never been, you're going to have to really, truly go outside of your comfort zone. And for so many of us, that's painful. It's challenging. It's going to challenge your nervous system. So as you navigate this process, you have to be patient with your human, with this person in front of you, because if you grew up, for example, some of my stuff like that, with the belief, the inherent belief that money was bad, money was evil.
Yep.
Money is, not meant for us.
Yep.
You're gonna unknowingly, until you know, create opportunities to sabotage or to lose what you've gained. That's something I've become aware of. I'll accumulate it, but then I'll lose it real fast.
Yep. That's happened.
And the pattern, right? So we recognize the pattern, and you have to be patient and calm with yourself, because you're literally reprogramming your human and regulating your nervous system into a new state, into a new dimension, into a new way of being, thinking, and feeling. And this is where so many people will really be hard on themselves, because they're going through changes. They want to change and they want it fast. They want it now. But that's not how it works. Like, my spiritual awakening was extremely abrupt. I had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. I started experiencing major physical shifts in my body and my mental processing, visions. It was very uncomfortable, broke out in a rash.
Physical pain.
Oh yeah. Like, they thought I had lupus because my body looked like I had scales all over my body.
So I don't want to go off topic, but I think this is really important to cover, because a lot of, like, when you are under high stress and as you are ascending and going through these things, I also learned that you get headache symptoms and, all kinds of stuff. So just knowing that sometimes there's nothing wrong, like there's nothing wrong with you. It's your body literally being upgraded. It's really important to keep that in mind as you're going through life. And when you do feel those uncomfortable moments, just knowing that it's all a part of the plan, it gives me some peace. Once I started to know that, okay, now that I am aware of that pattern, and yeah, I used to judge it and get upset with myself, but now I can start to be more playful with it, and just like laugh at myself more, like that was fucking stupid, Oh, sorry, can I curse?
Yeah.
My bad. But like, you know what I mean? Just like, okay, that was dumb, but now we learned from it, and what are we gonna do, like, to move forward? So
I
yeah.
have so many moments like that, like little blonde moments where I like type something wrong or say something opposite. And I'm just like, and I just have to laugh at myself. Like, we can't like hold ourselves to this ridiculous standard, because you're human. Like, give yourself some credit. And what you just said reminded me that there is a balance, even with the stress.
Yeah.
Stress can be, a little bit of stress can be healthy, because we need to, expand and contract. Like,
I would argue that
energetically,
healthy, like very healthy, through your darkest times. Like, I feel like it'll really test you. Like, I remember this woman that I call her one of my teachers, Ajna Sarah, on Instagram. She talks about, or one day, and I'm sure I've heard this before, but this is another thing. This is how life happens. You could hear something so many times, but then one day it'll just click. So she's like, okay, y'all want all this money and success. You can't even budget. And this is using money as an example. Well, you can't even budget your check. Can you imagine having $1 million and having that type of, how quick you could lose it? So for me, when you are in those lower moments, you can become a little bit more strategic and learn. And if you mess up a bunch of times, it is what it is. But I would say that in those, hard moments, that is your deepest lessons. So be grateful. Right?
Thanks, universe. Give me a little more. Like, how comfortable can I get in the uncomfortability? And we create it for ourselves.
Right. Once we learn that we create it, then we can say, all right, universe, all right, like, chill. Like, I don't need to learn them so hard anymore. I need to bump my head again because I've already learned it. But when I'm down, the only way has to be up. So like, let's try to avoid being down, and learn in those moments the first time. So that way it's not a repetitive pattern for years and years. And then you're 50 and you're like, damn, I could have done this, or I should have done that. So yeah. Bam. Mic drop. Bam.
I know you love talking about business. So let me ask you, When did you know that you wanted to start Soul Led Society? And when did you know that what you wanted to do was offer intentional products?
Um, I'd say for like 2 years now. After I had Callie, I think that's when we met around that time.
Mhm.
I was transitioning from doing business consulting. I quickly learned like, man, these people, they have so much potential. And it's almost like I could see the end goal. I feel like that's one of my gifts where I could see the bigger vision, but we get so caught up on the little steps because in business, it's not easy. Like we have to gain the skills to be able to thrive. But we beat ourselves up before we've even gained skills and then wonder why we aren't progressing. Right. So I quickly learned like, we need to follow that inner voice. Like that's the goal. Like joy is the real goal. It's not about money. It's not about material things. It's really about how you feel every single day, or we create our own hell, like we know. So after 2 years ago, and so yeah, even 2 years later, I'm still not where I want to be. I wanted to launch my podcast 5 years ago. I wanted to be a YouTuber for the last 10 years. And so just falling in love with who I'm becoming, that became like my main priority. And I was like, man, if I could teach everyone to do this, I will, but I wanted to become more intentional. And that takes time and I'm still learning. So 2 years ago, but I'm still figuring Soul Led out.
Yeah.
Finding my
Yeah.
tribe.
And can we have fun with that? Like, can we
Yeah.
have fun with that? Because originally I thought Metaphysical Ash, like I did not plan to turn that into a business. I was working at a salon and I just started, I could just feel people and I knew what they needed. And then I started doing readings and then I had a couple clients and then, COVID hit and I was like, well, I don't want to be downtown doing this anymore. So
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, well, I can sustain myself. I had no plan, absolutely no plan. I was just kind of flowing and coasting. And I'm still trying to figure out if you truly need a plan. I see some, extremely successful entrepreneurs like Bobby Brown. She just had an article that came out. She has never had a business plan. She's never done anything like that. A few other people have said the same thing, but then there's other people that have said, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. So like, what truth is it?
I feel like I do have an answer for that, Ash.
Okay.
So when I plan,
Mhm.
it's just, I could, okay, so I will show you because it's right here. I have this vision board, right? Or it's more like an action board. So the way I'm planning is I'm
Mhm.
able to, I have it like custom to my logo and me, my pictures and all that kind of stuff. So as I'm planning, I'm just planning what that vision looks like for me. So it's
Mhm.
not necessarily like for me, I used to be like, okay, by Monday I have to do this. Obviously there's some task that we have to do that, like for me, I need to launch a podcast episode like last week because that's a goal that I've set. But when I'm thinking about the bigger picture, I'm thinking about what that looks like, what I'm wearing, and you helped me with this. What I'm wearing, what I smell like, where am I? What does my house look like? But as I'm going through the process, I'm learning how to listen to intuitive guidance. So the plan changes all the time. So are we planning? Yeah. And I think when I say I'm strategic, I mean, like I have mouths to feed. So I can't be out here taking extreme risks, but I'm
Yeah.
also really risky at the same time. So I just have to be calculated with the moves that I make, but it's not like I'm like, um, to the second, and I'm trying to be better with that, with routine.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation and productivity. But when it comes to bigger vision, I don't think there's a right answer with planning. I think it's be clear on the vision and then follow the nudges as you go. That's
Yeah.
the plan.
Yeah. I
That's
feel
how
you on
I've been
that.
doing it.
I feel you on that. And everything you were saying is like you're quantifying it. You're quantifying it. You're knowing that it's there, but then you're taking the small steps of inspired action. You don't necessarily know.
Mhm.
Like what I've found is that to make great leaps, because I've made a couple great leaps where I've completely shifted into a different version of me. You have to completely surrender on how you think it's going to happen, because it's not logical. It's not logical.
I
You
agree.
just demand and command it, and then your human shifts into
It's so true. No, it's
a
true.
different
And we
processing system in the mind.
yes. And so we have to use our imagination more and be able to like, so learning the function of the brain, like learning that your subconscious, that your brain can't tell what's real or not. Right. So like literally commanding that in, but also without the noise of what you're actually looking at while being grateful. It is like a mission. It's a, it can be tricky, but if you can master that, then we do level up and become that higher version. So it's been exciting though, right? The process, it really is like fun. And I'll be 30 this year, and I feel like I'm like stepping into a new person. So yeah, I'm excited for what's to come. And I also, Ash, physically, I saw a difference in you as well. There's times where you're just like, it's like boss. Like, when I don't know if you've seen this with your friends, but like when a mother becomes a mother, they start to like nest and you could tell they're a mom.
Mm-hmm.
But then as you kind of like when you're a mom, as you start to kind of find your way, it's like like Keke Palmer, you just level up and you glow up. And in business, I could see that for you as well, where you've completely like 2-3 years ago, you were a different person.
Mm-hmm.
And you have this authority and credibility in your space. So I could physically see it in you.
Different thought system. Like I think differently. I move differently. I think I even speak differently. And I noticed like some shifts in like my physical appearance as well.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I'm
interesting.
yeah. It is
Yeah.
interesting. And it's like, man, I used to dream about being her, right? It's like
Here she comes. Here she comes. And sometimes,
yeah.
and I know you've probably experienced this, sometimes that old version comes back.
Oh yeah.
And then I get insecure, like, can I do this? Something will happen. So what I've noticed for me is like triggers, right? Like external things will come into my reality and it will push me off my pedestal. And then
Yeah.
I'm not on my alignment. I'm not like confident and feeling it. Next thing you know, reality around me starts to spiral. Get your alignment right. This is like the number one thing. Like anyone who doesn't develop a spiritual practice and have a way to center themselves when chaos comes to test them, it's going to last a lot longer than it needs to.
Yeah.
Like you can get yourself right a lot faster by having the tools to center yourself and to get right back on that version. And I've noticed like throughout our friendship, like for as long as we've known each other, that those periods of time where I'm off my pedestal are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And the connection link and the alignment with my intuition and my highest version of self is getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, 100%. So then when you throw a couple of kids in there,
Oh my gosh. What's that like? I don't know how you do it.
Ash, okay, so before I get into me though, how do you go back into alignment? Like, so say you are killing it in business and you're confident and you do see the bigger picture, but then it's like, we do become doubtful and run those old patterns. How do you realign?
Oh gosh, journaling.
How you give yourself
Journaling, meditation. Like I remember at one point, like things were like this was years ago. I worked at like a corporate. So I worked at Ulta's, like a corporate salon, and I wanted to do something, and I don't know, something happened, and I fell off my alignment, and I needed like it was like a financial thing. So then I got another job, which gave me confidence, and I got my alignment back. So that you do what you need to do in those moments to get your alignment back, to get your swag back, to get back into that version of you. I like journaling. I like meditation. And then I like surrounding myself with people who soothe my nervous system.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a big one. So what I gained from that is like knowing it's a choice.
Yeah, it is a choice. Do you want to stay within that chaotic state? Because there's that healthy stress that we need.
Yeah.
You have to discern. And I think that's something that comes with like knowing yourself, like where you are on your journey. Am I in a healthy, stressful state, or am I spiraling?
Yep. Yeah. So when it comes to the kids and everything, I mean, it's literally the same thing. I feel like I can be thrown off for longer periods of time. I'm getting better too, but it can't, like, for a week, I'm like, I got this, in terms of business, right? Like being able, I got this, I know what I want to do, whatever. And then one of my kids gets sick, or I have a sleepless night, or whatever it is. And then now, like, the next day I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I'm not in the mood. Can I even do this? Like, does this even make sense? But I already created a whole plan, right? When I feel inspired. But I still do doubt myself. But I think that is, and there's a term for it, and I'm sure everybody has heard it, imposter syndrome. And it's literally just telling us that we're not credible and we don't know enough. But again, it's because we're starting to feel uncomfortable, and your brain wants to protect you. You want to protect yourself from disappointment and fear. But with imposter syndrome, one of the things that I've had to do is, like, legit, Ash, like, remember who the hell I am. Like, remember who I am, how far I've come, and kind of do those same things, like take moments of silence and talk to my husband. If you do have a spouse and you have children, like, tag them in, tell them, like, yo, I'm not, like, I need a moment, I need a break. And I would hope that they would respect you and give you that moment to kind of realign yourself and give yourself grace. So yeah, I do similar things. I like taking showers a lot.
I love that. Like, that's a great
I
reset.
don't journal a lot. Would you say? I'm sorry.
I said, I love that. That's a great reset to take a shower.
Yeah.
I was checking the comments on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Is there
Yeah,
anyone?
I just was, yeah, let me read this to you. Heather, she's here. She sent, yeah, she says hi. We got Kath, we got Ivy. Hello, ladies. Yeah, so she's kind of going back and forth between the Zoom. There was something you said that stuck out. So what was it? You were talking about the kids.
I was saying that sometimes I tag Pookie in before that.
Yeah, like your partner, like the people that we surround ourselves with. And when you're always going to have like a few people that know that they will lift you up. But what also happens, when we're feeling down, we're questioning ourselves, our worth, our value, you're going to draw an experience that confirm you questioning your self-worth, your value. So in those time periods, like taking time to be alone, to be with self, to build that up internally, maybe with your significant other, but being able to build that up by yourself without needing the external validation.
100%.
Yeah.
So when I tag Pookie in, I mean for the kids, like, hold them down, because I need a moment to myself. Like, it's very clear that I do. And I started gardening a couple years back. It's not for everybody, but that was a way for me to become more patient. Mm-hmm. It taught me a lot of lessons about patience and, like, wow, if I can plant this seed and watch it blossom and then, like, wilt and maybe die, but then come back to life, like the way nature works and how we're the same. And it's taught me, like, patience and watering the seed and continuing to do that for me. Wow, made me emotional.
You're the seed. And I just, like, I want to know about your pineapple, because you were growing that thing for like 2 years.
Yes.
Like, what?
It was so good. The pineapple was so good. It was like this big. It wasn't that big, but I waited 2 years for the pineapple. It was amazing. I have like 6 other pineapples going, but they take 2 years. So we'll see them.
I had no idea.
We'll see them in 2025. We'll circle back.
Yeah. How special a pineapple is to take 2 years to really get itself right before it becomes something we
special and petty all at the same time. Because why does it have to take 2 years? I'm like staring.
I don't know. It's taking its sweet time.
Yeah. I wanted to say something. Oh, I wanted to talk about purpose again.
Yeah.
I want to talk about purpose because I remember a time where I was like searching for purpose.
Mhm.
Like, what's my purpose in the world? And sorry, I was just distracted.
I think a lot of people get stuck in that, like trying to figure out what their purpose is and where they need to be. And sometimes we can think so much about it that we pull ourselves away from it, which is the moment, which is the now, which is exactly where you are, how you are in your truth.
You literally brought my thought right back. So purpose changes. I just want to make that very clear. I think, and I met you at this time when we worked together. You helped me really like just go inward and become that calm in the chaos and be able to be more grounded. I was already on a search, right? And I knew I was destined for greatness because if you're here, you are. That's why we're all
Mhm.
together. So those things I was very clear on. I know like I'm meant for a lot, but I also knew that I had to gain control of my thoughts and my energy overall. So when I came across Ash and she did have this calm and is very activating and focuses on teaching you how to go inward. We could use all the tools. I have all the crystals. We can use tarot cards. We can use all the things, but you don't have to. And learning like how to really listen to yourself and still be grounded and still be able to live a happy life, even though maybe your cousin is miserable. Maybe your parents aren't living in their highest version, right? But being able to still be grounded and be happy. Where was I going with this? Oh, so when I was searching for purpose, I quickly learned I had to go inward and knowing that my purpose is what I'm doing right now. So as I am pregnant with Callie, my daughter, and wanting to start businesses, but it's like knowing the divine timing, what like really gauge where you're at in your life. We want to accomplish all these things, but let's be real about where we are, right? I'm not pregnant now. I'm saying at the time I'm pregnant. I want to start a business, but no, like I'm meant to be a mother in this moment. I'm meant to care for little ones. It's going to be temporary. Like they're going to be and I would get resistance to being a mom because I want to go focus on my career, but knowing how to really pull it inward and live out the moment for what it is. No, I'm not where I want to be. I think as humans, we're naturally curious and we're going to constantly be on like a search for something, but knowing how to like pump the brakes and live in your purpose, which is right now, and knowing that it changes. And I actually I just looked up very quickly. I didn't do too much research, but I looked up the word mission, and mission is related or equals your core purpose. So whatever mission looks like for you, mission for me through Soul Led is to shift the perspective of women, not just women, but women, so that way they can change their behavior and start to live out a life that they love. That's Soul Led's mission, but the same goes for me and my children. So you see how like your values it translates from your personal life to your business life. But the purpose it can change, it can shift your purpose in the moment, but your mission for the most part is that one thing that's so big and we can't quite understand it, but we're on that path.
Oh, I love that. That was so good, Priscilla. That was so good. And the mission
Yeah,
for me, mission is perfecting the moment where I'm at.
I
And
love
by
that.
perfecting, I mean just being with it, like fully and completely. And that's where I'm at. Like, just I am here now. I'm not, in the future. I'm not in the past. And it is in this now moment that I have everything I need to build what I am creating. And some days I need rest, and that's all I'm going to do. And then other days I'm just like getting a lot done, like tons of behind the scenes stuff, like the little steps, like the budgeting and learning the email marketing software and connecting with the right people and building relationships. So Metaphysical Ash is a spiritual mentor and resource center, helping those who are awakening so they don't go through the extremes that I went through. But now Metaphysical Ash has a team of professionals that I can connect people with the right tools and resources that they need when they need it to best serve them. So it's expanded.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I'm here for it. And as much as some days I'm like, I just want it all now. I want it all now. I want everything to be at that end goal that I desire it and dream it to be. I'm here with what is. I'm not there, but I know that in this now moment is where I can take those little steps, and enjoying that took a while because I always wanted to be there. And I feel like I finally surrendered to
when
here.
you're there, there's going to be another there.
Yeah.
And then another there.
So why not be here?
Why not be right? Why we want to be over there and create all this anxiety and pressure? Like, why can't we just be right here, right now? I think it's also like we briefly mentioned, well, external stimulation. I think social media, I love social media. I love to create. Yeah. But I do think it could have that toxic, like everything, it's pros and cons.
Do you think it could mess with your mission if you spend too much time on social media and focused on external stuff? Do you think it could limit someone from connecting with their own purpose and mission?
I think it could distort your mission. Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's like you start to, and Masajati, who you've introduced me to, you start to attach to these energies and frequencies, and you try to become something that you're not. Maybe you like certain aspects of a person that you want to pull from and you want to learn from, and that's cool. But the moment we start to try to be like someone subconsciously because we're like, oh, they're cool, like that's when you're distorting your own identity and your own mission. So I think what I've been telling myself lately, so my bad if I haven't showed y'all love, but I've been telling myself, if I'm on social media, I have to be creating. Because I've learned how to post on purpose. So if you actually were to like analyze my post, I'm not perfect and I'm sure I can improve, but you would know that there is an intention behind every single one of my posts. That's a whole nother conversation that has to do with marketing and building trust and other things. But the point is that when I'm creating now on social media, like I'm very intentional rather than just scrolling, because I get into those traps where I'm just consuming, and then like 2 hours go by and I didn't.
Yeah, those memes will pull you in.
But sometimes,
I love a meme. Sometimes you gotta trick yourself.
Necessary. Balance. There's no such thing as perfect balance. Just, you know what I call that, Ash? Market research.
Okay.
So I'll save it for later, and then maybe I want to share it to my audience. So I call it market research. I'm just researching, and enjoying. But I do think it can distort the mission. So yeah, 100%. I'm just reading.
Yeah, I agree with you. Social media can be quite a distraction, and we're seeing what everyone's doing and how they're living, and we're creating like just from desire, like I want that. And another thing we really need to know about ourselves is our why. Like I can be pretty honest about my why. I want to make an impact. I also want to make an income. So I am not one of those people that will say, oh, the money doesn't matter, because it does. It matters to me because I would like a certain quality of life. So I can be honest with myself about that, and knowing that about myself, it took me a while to figure that out. I used to condemn myself and think that's not okay to want, to have money. And where does that come from?
Yep. You
Generational
just
trauma.
Think of, and yeah, 100%. You just made me think of the fact that we need to be clear. That looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
Like what success looks like. Because money matters for me too. Absolutely. I'm trying to be out here stacked, but defining what success looks like to you. And for me, when I talked about joy earlier, and I said that that's the goal, money brings me joy.
Mhm.
So defining the things that it doesn't bring you joy, but obviously it can increase it because now you're not struggling. You can vacation wherever you want. So obviously there's deeper reasons why money is so good. It provides you that life. It's a tool. It really is. It's not the root of all evil and all the things that you've heard. It's really a tool. So as when we start to view it in that way, and like knowing that it brings you joy and then doing the things that bring you joy with the
Mhm.
money, but that requires you to be specific on what success looks like. It's not going to look the same for everybody.
No, it doesn't. And success, you know, we can view having all that money as success, but there's other areas like, your health, your relationships. That's why we want to get really, really strong within our foundation. Like, take your time. Can you hear that thunder?
Oh no, I didn't hear it.
Oh, I got a microphone, so it must
It blocked it out.
yeah, it's pretty loud. It's really storming out here. Like, the foundation is key. Like, if we don't have that foundation right, we might just view like financial success as the end all be all. That's all I want. And then other areas of our life are lacking because we've not gotten to know that part of ourselves.
Yep.
And at some point in your life, like later down the road, you're like, oh my gosh, like I have all this and like nobody to share it with.
And you're empty. Yep.
You're empty because you poured everything out, and then your health takes a toll because you're not balanced. And I do believe we can create success the right way, and not like giving all our life force to that, but like to equally balancing all areas of our life.
I
Success
agree.
in our relationships, romantic and friendships,
Mhm.
success in our health, and success in our finance. But let's be patient because we need to work on all those avenues and not just all one. And that's what I noticed is very common in the world and society and social media pressuring us to do. We need to be with ourselves in all avenues, like understand ourselves from all the different angles, because it's all part of success to me.
Yeah, I agree. I call that like the life pillars: relationships, finances, career, family, yourself, health. They're
Mhm.
all things that do kind of keep us and hold that foundation up. Um, and yeah, like knowing which areas in those pillars or whatever, in those different whatever aspects of life, knowing where they're empty and knowing where we do have to refuel them. And I think that's really important um to do as well. 100%.
Priscilla, you're so wise. And I always come to you like with my business questions because I feel like you have like just an innate, like natural, like boss lady vibe about you. Did you hear that one?
We knowing, huh?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you just
No,
know. You
no.
should
Okay,
just be knowing.
so yes, but you know what it is, Ash? It's like, oh, that's what I was gonna. I keep losing. I swear, I'm working on that. I lose my train of thought. I have to like write notes down. Um, what was I gonna say? That natural ability to just know. Lost it again. Love that.
So many times I have like come to you questioning, if I'm making the right decision. Am I being too greedy? You know what I'm saying? To do right by people, but also run a business, which businesses make money. They don't just give all of themselves away. And I
Yeah.
think for some of us, like who are running certain personality pattern algorithms, it is challenging to establish yourself as a professional when you are the product and you're charging, for your services.
Oh,
And
I could relate to that for sure.
yeah,
For sure. Because you're having to sell yourself and maybe you're not a singer, right?
there you
Or like
go. Yeah.
artist. So you're having to, honestly, you don't even have, like, I feel like when you do have a natural ability to just connect with people and like people like us, I feel like everyone in this chat, you don't have to sell yourself so much. You just be you. It's more so within our own mindset where we're like, nah, can I really charge this? Because that's another conversation from shifting from an employee mindset into a entrepreneur, the boss's mindset. Then within business, you have to wear or like put on different hats and have different mindsets for various functions of the business. So just knowing that it's going to shift, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
things will change within your mindset. But yeah, just still knowing that you're worthy and that you're valuable and learning those patterns. I think that that really helps out. Ash, I wanted to ask you really quick because we didn't really talk about it. When you shifted from what you're doing now, like full time, because I know you worked on it for a little bit, but for you going from the salon to doing this full time, doing mentoring, coaching, how did that feel? I know you said you didn't have a plan.
Scary.
So what did you do? You didn't have a plan. So how did you kind of like, because I know there's some people that are shifting from that, like a new industry, a completely new industry, and having to, shift your mindset and change.
Yeah. It required a lot of trust. And I was so lucky, like, 'cause I don't really have a lot of support. Like, I don't have like many people who could like help me. So
Gotcha.
it required a lot of trust
And yourself?
in the universe and
Mhm.
what I could create and what I would, manifest for myself. So like I still, had a few clients on the side, and then I had a few clients that I worked with weekly that kind of kept me afloat, and I just continued to do this work. But a lot of that time period from when I closed my salon and up until now has been a deep dive into self work.
Yeah.
I don't think I've really even started running my business as a business up until recently.
I could relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm still like, for me, because I'm still working on marketing and everything else, but it required that work, like shifting and knowing that like we are capable and we are the product, quote unquote. Like that is a tough one. It is, but just knowing that our voice and the things that we say, the way, especially the services that you offer people, it's so like huge, it's priceless. And when we start to really like embody that and like, wow, I helped change that person's life in that way, and not downplay ourselves, I think that's when we're more confident. And I think as you do it more, right? Like as you start to charge people more and see results, we become more confident in like what we're offering. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But you got to get that foundation. You got
Yeah.
to get that foundation, especially doing, work with people. You want to make sure that you have a certain percentage of your own trauma dealt with, because you don't
Yeah.
want to be bringing in like prejudice or judgment. Like you need to be, so for what I do, neutral. You have to
Yes.
be as neutral. And I had to get that nervous system like really clean and clear so that I could handle what people are bringing in.
And so that way you basically, like what you just said, is so that way you don't come up from a place of where you're maybe in pain or
Yeah.
what you've been through.
Yeah.
You're able to look at it from a higher perspective, a neutral lens, and then provide the best, like support and solutions.
And I foresee and predict that over the next few years, we are going to see a like boom of people in the energy healing field. Like there's just gonna like all these individual people are just like waking up like, oh my goodness, the world does not need more stockbrokers. The world needs more, farmers, energy healers, people who know how to work with herbs, like people who can help people dive in to their trauma and actually start to feel again
Yeah.
and live intentionally, knowing that everything they do makes a wave. Live intentionally.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Because for a long time, I think almost like the whole planet was on autopilot and just doing their tasks and just paying bills. But I do think I know that there's a huge shift. Everyone could feel it. Like, yeah, 100%.
So
100%.
get to know yourself. That's where the mission is. It's inside. And then take your time getting rid of all the gunk that isn't you. Like, we are not in a hurry. Like, you don't need to be in a hurry to reach that, 6-figure mark. Like, get yourself aligned, and then maybe that will happen for you in 3 months.
Quicker.
Yeah.
Exactly.
From the alignment, because it's just like a cleaner flow, and you create from that point of attraction. So
And I just want to say that, oh, we're already, it's 9. I just want to say that some of the ways to feel, like, to know if you're in alignment is literally your emotions. And I know this is kind of a deeper topic as well, but when we talk about alignment, it's literally feeling joy. I was telling Pookie the other day, which is my husband, that it felt like, I was like, man, being present, time really is, it doesn't feel long. Does that make sense? You're just so present that it's not really going by too fast. It just is what it is. And if we can start to live like that, like, we don't want the, sometimes you feel like, oh, I wish this moment was over. Like, let's have less of those moments. Let's stop putting ourselves in those situations. And
right there. Let's stop putting ourselves in those situations.
yeah. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't want to be here. Like, no, we're not doing it anymore. And as you guys have learned, this entire call is really not about business. It's really about.
But it is. It's the business of your isness. Like,
I love that. Exactly.
Yeah, it is.
Because then as we become the business of our isness, or like master that, you'll make more effective, confident, sure, certain decisions in business. So that was really my goal of this call, is like for you to know that as you become more aligned, it will translate in business, and then you'll be able to make better decisions to follow that path, whatever that is for you.
That's right. You dropped a lot of gems on this, Priscilla. Thank you so much for, being a part of Align Your Divine, which is our women's group. You can find us on Facebook. You can find the replays of our events, some of our events, on YouTube on my channel, Metaphysical Ash. And if you'd like to connect with me for a one-on-one, you can find me on metaphysicalash.com. Priscilla, how can people reach you if they have any further questions, or if they want to, know more or experience what Soul-Led Society has to offer?
So you could follow me on Instagram. It's Priscylla Christian. I'll put it in the chat because it's kind of long. And then my website, soulledsociety.com. So those are the 2 ways you can currently contact me, follow me. Right now, we just go with the flow, and we do have a lot of events coming up in the future, in person and virtual. So we look forward to connecting to everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for being here.